Hello, students. Welcome once again to my YouTube channel. I'm your English teacher. Today we are going to read another lesson from your English NCERT Honeycomb textbook. And the title of the story, the lesson is Fire, Friend and Foe. Let's check it out. Here it is. Fire is both useful and dangerous. What is fire? How did we discover it? How do we control it? These are the important questions which we have to think about. Now let's read the lesson. Fire, friend and foe. Foe means enemy. Early man didn't know what fire was, but he must have seen the damage it could cause. He must have watched lightning and volcanoes long before he began to use fire himself. Fire was powerful and dangerous. He was frightened. Fire may have puzzled early man, but we now know that fire is the result of a chemical reaction. When the oxygen in the air combines with carbon and hydrogen in a fuel, a chemical reaction takes place. Energy in the form of heat and light is released in this process. This is what we call fire. Three things are needed to make fire: fuel, oxygen, and heat. Wood, coal, cooking gas, and petrol are some examples of fuel. Oxygen comes from the air. That is why when you blow on smoldering pepper, it often bursts into flame. The third thing needed to make fire is heat. Fuel and oxygen do not make fire by themselves, or else a newspaper or a stick lying in the open would catch fire on its own. To burn a piece of paper or wood, we heat it before it catches fire. We generally do it with a lighted match. Every fuel has a particular temperature at which it begins to burn. This temperature is called the flash point or kindling temperature of the fuel. It is sometimes said that fire is a good servant but a bad master. It only means that fire is very useful as long as it is kept under control. For instance, we use it to cook our food, warm our homes in winter, and to generate electricity. But on the other hand, if fire gets out of control, it can be very dangerous. Each year, thousands of homes and shops are damaged by fire. Vast areas of forests are also destroyed, and hundreds of people are killed or injured. Just as three things are needed to start a fire, there are three main ways in which a fire can be put out. In each one of the three things needed for burning is taken away. For example, we can take away the fuel. If the fire has no fuel to feed on, no burning can take place. We often let the fire die out simply by not adding more fuel to it. The second way of putting out the fire is to prevent oxygen from reaching it. The supply of oxygen means no fire. Small fires can be put out or smoother with a damp blanket or a sack. This stops oxygen reaching the burning material. Sometimes carbon dioxide is used to extinguish fire. It does not allow oxygen to reach the burning material. The third way of putting out the fire is to remove the heat. If the temperature can be brought down below the flash point, the fuel stops burning. You blow on a burning matchstick or a candle to put it out. In doing so, you remove the hot air around the flame bringing down its temperature below the flash point, and the candle goes out. Sometimes water is sprayed on the fire. It absorbs heat from the burning fuel and lowers the temperature. The blanket of water also cuts off the supply of oxygen, and the fire is extinguished. Some fires cannot be put out with water. If water is sprayed onto an oil fire, the oil will float to the top of the water and continue to burn. This can be very dangerous because water can flow quickly, carrying the burning oil with it and spreading the fire. Water should also not be used on fires caused by electrical appliances. The person spraying water might receive an electric shock and be killed. A carbon dioxide extinguisher is the best thing to fight an electrical fire. We spend millions of rupees each year in fighting fires, and we spend more trying to find new ways of preventing fires from happening and getting out of control. On the whole, we have learned rather well to control fire and put it to good use in our everyday life. Long ago, there were no firemen. When fire broke out, everybody became a firefighter. People formed human chains. They still do if required and passed buckets of water from a well or a pond to the blast. Now there are laws about building construction which ensure that space is left between buildings to reduce the fire risks. Every new building, especially a public place, must ensure observance of fire prevention norms. Bands of firefighting workers with special equipment known as fire brigades are there to put out fires. Firefighters are highly trained people. They possess many skills. They cut off electricity supply, knock down dangerous walls, spray water and other material to bring fire under control. They are also trained in first aid so that they can help people suffering from burns or from the effects of smoke. The discovery of fire and its uses helped early man to cope with nature better and gradually adopt a settled mode of life. Fire is still worshipped in many parts of the world. Fire is indeed a friend, but as we know, it can be a dangerous enemy once it gets out of control. Now we have comprehension check. Mark the correct answer in each of the following. Early man was frightened of lightning or volcanoes. Lightning and volcanoes. The damage caused by them. Fire. You have to choose. Fire is energy. Fire is heat and light. Fire is the result of the chemical reaction. From the boxes given below, choose the one with the correct order of the following sentences. That is fire. A chemical reaction takes place. Energy in the form of heat and light is released. Oxygen combines with carbon and hydrogen. Okay, you can try this. It will be fun. We have walking with the text. Answer the following questions. What do you understand by the flash point of a fuel? What are some common uses of fire? In what sense is it a bad master? Match items in column A with those in column B. Okay. Fuel, oxygen, heat. Lighted matchstick, air, coal, burning coal, wood, smoldering pepper, cooking gas. Here in this case, we have the more options about fuel. Coal, wood, cooking gas, this all belongs to fuel. Try this. What are the three main ways in which a fire can be controlled or put out? Match the items in box A with those in box B. Okay. To burn paper or a piece of wood, small fires can be put out when water is spread on the fire. A carbon dioxide extinguisher is the best thing. Space left between buildings. It absorbs heat from the burning material and lowers the temperature, reduces the risk of fire. With a damped blanket, we heat it before it catches fire to put out an electrical fire. Okay. Try this. Why does a burning candle go out when you blow on it? Spraying water is not a good way of putting out an oil fire or an electrical fire. Why not? What are some of the things you should do to prevent a fire at home and in the school? Working with language. Read the following sentences. To burn paper or a piece of wood, we heat it before it catches fire. We generally do it with a lighted match. Every fuel has a particular temperature at which it burns. The verbs in italics are in the simple present tense. When we use it, we are not thinking only about the present. We use it to say that something happens all the time or repeatedly, or that something is true in general. Find 10 examples of verbs in the simple present tense in the text. Fire, friend and foe, and write them down here. Do not include any passive verbs. I think we have already learned passive verbs and active verbs. So here in this case, we should not include any passive verbs. We should focus on active verbs only from the lesson. Fill in the blanks in the sentences below with words from the box. You may use a word more than once. Okay. You can try this. Very easy. Here another fill in the blanks. And another. Speaking and writing. Look at the following 3 units. First, reorder the items in each unit to make a meaningful sentence. Next, reorder the sentences to make a meaningful paragraph. Use correct punctuation marks in the paragraph. And 18 fire tenders struggled. The fire began on Monday to douse the blaze till morning. Next, in a major fire, over 25 shops were gutted. Next, but property was destroyed worth several lakhs. No casualties were reported. I will do one of the 3. Let me do the Roman number 3 for you. You can start like this. No casualties were reported, but property worth several lakhs was destroyed. No casualties were reported, but property worth several lakhs was destroyed. Now, read the following newspapers report given in the box below. Fire station goes up in flames. A fire chief was embarrassed when a station without a smoke alarm went up in flames. The building and a fire engine were destroyed in the blast. Nobody was injured in the fire that was tackled by 30 firefighters in 6 fire engines from neighboring towns. Now students, let me summarize the lesson for you. Fire, Friend and Foe. This is a non fictional piece of writing which talks about fire, its causes, uses, and threat. What is fire? Fire is the result of a chemical reaction. Three things are needed to make a fire. These three things are fuel, oxygen, and heat. Most common fuels are wood, coal, cooking gas, and petrol. The air naturally carries oxygen. However, oxygen and fuel cannot make fire by themselves. Heat is also important for it to start. The temperature at which a fuel begins to burn is called the flash point of that fuel. We generally give heat to a fuel with a lighted match. Fire is a good servant but a bad master. It is used for cooking food, warming our rooms in winters, and to generate electricity. If fire gets out of control, it can be very dangerous. It may burn houses, factories, and vast forest areas. In this sense, it is a bad master. There are three main ways to put out a fire, and it is very important to know all these ways. These are: 1. Removal of fuel, 2. Cutting off the oxygen supply, and bringing the temperature down. Spraying water is a common way of extinguishing fire, but it is not a good way of putting out an oil fire, a fire which is caused by oil, or an electric fire. In this case, we should not use water to put out the fire. Oil is lighter than water, as a result of which it floats on water. If it catches fire, water helps to spread the fire. Electric fire gives shocks to the person who tries to spray water on it to control it. Therefore, water must never be used to douse an electric or an oil fire. In olden times, when there was no concept of fireman, people used to form a human chain to put out the fire. They passed buckets of water from a nearby pond to the place of fire. Today there are fire brigades in every town. Firemen with their special equipments are capable of putting out fires, and they are professional, well-trained people to help putting out fires. Again, here are some points to be remembered. The temperature at which a fuel begins to burn is called the flash point of that fuel, and it is different for every object or every fuel. So every fuel has its own flash point. Fire is used for cooking food, keeping our rooms warm in winter, and to generate electricity. If fire gets out of control, it can be very dangerous. It may burn houses, factories, and vast forest area. In this sense, it is a bad master. There are three main ways in which a fire can be controlled or put out. Number 1, by removing fuels, with preventing the supply of oxygen, and removing the heat to bring down the temperature. Fire can be controlled or put out. When we blow on a burning candle, we remove the hot air around the flame. It lowers down the temperature below the flash point of the fuel. Thus, the candle goes out. Oil is lighter than water. It floats on water. If it catches fire, water helps to spread the fire. Electric fire also gives shocks to the person who sprays water on it, so spraying water is not good. It is not recommendable. Spraying water to put out fire, which is caused by oil or an electrical fire. In both the cases, water should not be sprayed to put out the fire. At home, we should not keep inflammable articles in the kitchen. We should keep the gas cylinder at a safe place. We should check the gas supply tube from time to time. Buildings often catch fire due to short circuits. In school premises, wires should be checked from time to time. Chemicals and equipments in the labs must be stored carefully. Fire extinguishers must be installed in the school and buildings.